Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you all here, and those are people that are online too. I'm Jerry Richmond. I am the Undersecretary for Science and Innovation in the Department of Energy. It's my privilege to have served in this role for the vast number of years. I'm so happy to be here in particular because of what we're celebrating and who we're celebrating, the Fermi Awards, to celebrate the excellence in innovation and achievement of 3 distinguished scientists who have made significant and lasting contributions to science and society. The Fermi Award is one of the most prestigious science and technologies honored bestowed by the President and the US government. And I am so happy, if you can't tell that, I'm so happy to be here to be part of this as we celebrate the inspiring accomplishments of all of our 2024 Enrico Fermi Award laureates. So before you hear from me and the 2024 laureates, I'd like to introduce you to our Deputy Secretary of Energy, David Turk, who will offer remarks on behalf of Senator, I've been here too long, Secretary Jennifer Granholm. So join me in welcoming David Turk.
Thank you. I'm just moving the stool to the side. I'm a little bit taller. Let me just start with a huge thanks, appropriately so, to Jerry, our phenomenal Dr. Richmond, our Undersecretary the last several years for Science and Innovation. Jerry is just one of those gems of a colleague that you hope you get a chance to work with, and I've had a chance to do that for several years. I wish it were several decades, Jerry. Just the enthusiasm that you bring to the table, the passion, the teamwork. She's so technically sound, but she also has just such a phenomenal way of making science, making innovation, making technology come alive in the way that the rest of us knuckleheads can sometimes understand from time to time. So thank you, Jerry, for leading the charge and for your phenomenal years and years of research and public service as well. As Jerry said, we're here on behalf of our secretary. She very much wanted to be here, but she's down in Puerto Rico right now. Puerto Rico is one of those parts of the country that has had some real challenges on energy issues, electricity, for many years. And credit to our secretary. This is, I think, her 9th trip down there. And when she knows that there's a problem that needs solving, she wants to roll up her sleeves and get to work. And for too long, Puerto Rico, it's not a state, and sometimes fellow Americans don't think about the full range of America and Americans, but she's down there one last time to try to get things in as good a shape as we can so the folks have power. They had a big outage New Year's Eve right before the celebrations where the power just basically went out because the infrastructure wasn't invested in for years and years and years, and we've got some resources now that we're trying to help the cause. So that's why she's down there, but she very much wanted, as Jerry said, for both of us to express her personal gratitude for the awardees and everyone involved in this community as well. I want to thank Assad, who's representing the White House here in the Office of Science and Technology Policy, for coming and joining us. And I want to also just take this opportunity. Some of us are short timers with 10 more days or so, Jerry, I think it is, before new management comes in, as they say. But I just want to thank Assad and for you representing the President and all our White House colleagues as well. I had a chance to represent the Secretary in a meeting with the President and Vice President yesterday on the LA wildfires, another area of real challenge, and really our hearts, and not just our prayers, but our actions and our funding and our support goes out to those colleagues. And it's just been an absolute pleasure being part of this administration for all sorts of reasons. Historic levels of climate funding and clean energy, which is where I've spent the bulk of my career. But I also think it's appropriate to recognize the President, the Vice President, and our senior leadership on the scientific integrity, the support of funding, the support of science, the support of technology, but also just the scientific integrity piece to it as well. And so Assad, on all our behalfs, if you'll carry that back to your White House colleagues and really thank them. I also want to thank Harriet and Linda, our other S4 colleagues. Everybody's a letter and a number around DOE. And our Office of Science in particular, it's just been such a pleasure working with you all. And Harriet, your leadership has just been so outstanding for so many years, and really appreciate everything you've done and will continue to do for this department and for the incredibly important missions that we've got. I just wanted to say maybe one broad thing and then a little bit of thoughts to set the scene for more detailed recognition of our awardees in particular that Jerry will go through in terms of the particular accomplishments. The broader point is we've done a lot of deployment of clean energy and infrastructure during the last 4 years. But one thing we've tried to do, and Jerry has made sure that we do this, is we can't just focus on one part of the equation as we think of our strategy, our national security strategy, our economic strategy. We've got to focus on all parts of the equation. And I feel really proud that as we've deployed record amounts of funding to help improve the infrastructure, to make sure we have less damaging wildfires and less damaging hurricanes and all the other things we're working on, we have had record budgets proposed and record budgets working with folks in Congress to do what we should be doing on science, on innovation, on technology, for competitiveness, for pushing the boundaries, for making our kids wake up and be proud of the human species and what we're trying to do. And we've had some phenomenal breakthroughs over the last few years throughout the Department of Energy family, some of whom have gotten headlines like first fusion experiment ever, and others that have not gotten headlines, but is the foundation upon which everything else is built. And so I feel really proud, and again, thank you, Jerry, for your leadership to make sure we as the Department of Energy, as a powerhouse in science, is doing our part to support, especially with funding, but with talent, with the infrastructure, with the efficiency, with the support. Justin Fontaine was here. I don't know if Justin's here anymore, but Justin's one of those guys, for those who haven't worked with him, who just does the operation stuff, because if you don't do the operation stuff, nothing else gets done. And just want to thank all our colleagues on that front. All right, 3 quick things in terms of setting the scene for our awardees. I wanted to just read a little bit about what our 3 awardees have done collectively, which is quite impressive, and I think it's a useful frame to recognize, even though these are individual awards. These 3 leaders' work is literally saving lives, improving our energy system, and tackling the climate crisis nationwide and worldwide. That's a pretty good set of accomplishments as a team. Creating companies, awarding numerous patents, and partnering with scientists, not just in our country, but around the world. And I just want to digress about how phenomenal it is to have top talent come to our national labs, come to our universities. And the hope is that that will continue not just for a few years, but for decades, for generations, because that's how our country has been such a powerhouse in science, such a powerhouse in innovation for so many years. Hector, your work in electroanalytic chemistry, driving progress in renewable energy, including fuel cell, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for everything that you've done throughout your phenomenal career. Paul, we've gotten a chance to get to know each other and work together. Thank you for all of your various hats that you have worn throughout your career, not just as Lawrence Berkeley National Lab Director for some time, all your work in nanoscience, unlocking new technologies. And again, think about all the research that you've done and what goes from that and what's built from that. So thank you for your leadership. And to John as well, another former lab director, this time Lawrence Livermore, lab director, and incredible leadership at a time of real transition for our national labs, especially our NNSA national labs, and Kim, of course, here accepting the award in person. So it's great to think of this group together. It's great to think of this group individually. But the last thing I'd love to do, if we could, and I think the awardees will all support me in this, is I want to give a special shout out and acknowledgement to your families, to your peers, to your colleagues, to your wives and spouses and husbands and your children. My children just make fun of me, but I assume your children, if you have children, have been supportive of your careers throughout. And everyone, nothing in life worth doing can be done as an individual, even though these are individual awards. And so if you'll all join me with just a round of applause. We have one of our spouses here, but for all of our family members and friends. And that's not meant to take away your individual achievements. Your individual achievements, you'll get the medals, you'll get the honoraria. You can keep that to yourselves if you want, but it's good to acknowledge those who supported you along your phenomenal careers. All right, Jerry, I think I'm turning it back over to you.
Thank you, Deputy Turk, and he's been a phenomenal leader also. Been a pleasure to serve with him. Now, are you ready? Let's go, man. Here he comes from OSTP. So pleasure to have you here.
All right. Thank you, Undersecretary Richmond, Deputy Secretary Turk. This is an exciting award, and we're thrilled to be here. Let me give you a little bit of background on the award, and then I get to do the fun part of the job, which is to congratulate you all. So this award in particular was established in 1956 as a memorial to the legacy of Enrico Fermi. The award is given to encourage excellence in research in the energy sciences and technologies that benefit humanity, and to recognize the scientists, the engineers, the technologists, the science policymakers who have dedicated their careers to advancing the field. Each Fermi Award winner will receive a citation signed by President Joe Biden and Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, along with the gold-plated medal bearing the likeness of Enrico Fermi. And the recipients will also equally share an honorarium of $100,000, which Deputy Turk said you can do whatever you want with that, and your spouses, I guess, don't have to know is what? No, I'm kidding. But we're excited to be able to finally do this. President Biden likes to say that America can be defined by a single word, and that word is possibilities. The work of science and technology and the work of scientists and technologists is to turn that phrase into a reality for the benefit of America and Americans. That's what my boss, Arthi Prabhakar, the director of OSTP, likes to say, and I think it's a good way to think about the purpose of what we're doing. I'm proud that President Biden, Vice President Harris, and this entire administration have increased federal funding for R&D, have prioritized, as the deputy said, scientific integrity, but also the value of science and technology. And a lot of that work has happened here at the Department of Energy, and I want to thank my colleagues here for so much of what they've done. They get a lot of credit, and they deserve a lot of credit for what they've done to implement big laws that the president has championed and enacted, and they deserve credit for all of the investments in science. That is the future of, investing in science is how we invest in our future, and it's a big deal that that's happening here, and I see my Office of Science colleagues here too. Thank you for your work. To the awardees, you have used science and technology to transform what is possible, and you've expanded the boundaries of human knowledge. I get the joy to tell you that President Biden, our federal government, and a grateful nation recognize and appreciate all that you've done to contribute to the field of energy sciences. The advances you've made have improved society, and it's my honor to simply say thank you. Thank you for your dedication, thank you for your courage and creativity, and thank you for all that you've done, and congratulations on receiving this august recognition. And I'll turn it back over to the Undersecretary.
Okay, thank you very much for those remarks from both of you. This truly is a momentous occasion in the Office of Science, in the Department of Energy, and to the many DOE laboratory directors and representatives that are here and also online. So this is indeed a big deal to the Department of Energy, but it's also a big deal to the nation. Established in 1956 by President Eisenhower, the Enrico Fermi Presidential Award is one of the oldest and one of the most prestigious awards that we give for honoring the technology and science that's done in the US government. It's given to inspire people of all ages through the examples of Enrico Fermi, the 1938 Nobel laureate in physics, and the Fermi Award laureates who followed similar yet unique paths to explore the unknown. This award honors not just the exceptional technical achievements in our laureates, but their extraordinary other achievements in mentorship and in service to the community. The laureates were nominated by their peers and selected based on highly competitive selection process, including independent merit review. Laureates were also reviewed by the Secretary of Energy before being approved by President Biden. So now it's time to roll, to announce the 2024 Fermi Laureates and how they have impacted the DOE mission in such a big way. I will start by summarizing each of the accomplishments in just a moment as I introduce each laureate and so they can receive their award and we can honor them. To make sure everyone is able to hear the full summary of their accomplishments, I do ask everyone to please hold their applause until each laureate is invited to the stage to receive their award. So first, I would like to invite Deputy Secretary Turk and Assad back to the stage. Because they have to be there to give the awards out, okay? And speaking of Puerto Rico, our first laureate is Professor Hector Abuña Tito, who is recognized for revolutionizing the fundamental understanding of electroanalytical chemistry and innovating characterization for the development of batteries, fuel cells, and energy materials that have led to advancements for electrical power grid and energy transformation and creation. He is the Emil M. Shamat Professor of the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology at Cornell University. He has made significant contributions, and I know this well because I've played around in this field, to electroanalytical chemistry and the development of advanced technologies. His innovations include pioneering operando characterization of methods and high-performance electrocatalysis for fuel cells, batteries, supercapacitors, and sensors. These advancements support very crucial goals of decarbonization and renewable energy, leading to improved efficiency and long-term stability across the technology. Tito is also a very highly respected mentor who has profoundly impacted the careers of early scientists. He's been recognized for his efforts to educate and support underserved students, contributing to a diverse and inclusive scientific community. One important piece, maintaining scientific excellence in the United States, is making sure that our STEM students have the support of mentors like Professor Abuña and encouragement to see STEM programs through to graduation and beyond, because retention is a big deal. His mentees often pursue academic careers and play crucial roles in advancing carbon neutral energy solutions, highlighting the importance of mentorship and scientific progress. And on top of that, as director of 2 multi-institutional DOE-funded energy frontier research centers, we call them EFRCs, which the Office of Science knows well, Professor Abuña has led efforts to address grand challenges in energy science. His leadership in electrocatalysis, material science, electrochemical processes has really advanced fundamental knowledge in so many different ways. And the successes of these EFRCs can be attributed in part to the leadership of you, Tito, for doing that. His research extends beyond the scientific community and impacts society as a whole. Through his groundbreaking research, he has developed technologies with widespread societal benefits. The work on fuel cell catalysts, high energy density batteries, and resilient hydrogen-based grids has implications for renewable energy and disaster recovery, exemplified by his projects in Puerto Rico post-Hurricane Maria. His contributions have also received numerous prestigious awards and honors reflecting his influence on both science and society. I could go on, but I think I will just stop there and say huge congratulations to you, Tito. So with that, Tito, please come to the stage. Oh yeah, got to show them out. Yee-hoo!
Would I have a copy of this? Somebody like Kevin.
That's great. Well, congratulations again to you. I'm used to calling you Tito, so Professor Abrina. Okay, Paul, we're ready for you. Okay, man? Our next laureate is Paul Alivisatos, is recognized for developing the foundational materials and physical chemistry to produce beneficial nanocrystals and polymers with controlled size, shape, connectivity, and topology that underpin energy-efficient technology, optical devices, and medical diagnostic technology. And started his career right across the hall from me in graduate school. So he is president of the University of Chicago and the John D. MacArthur Distinguished Service Professor in the Department of Chemistry. Professor Alivisatos has revolutionized the field of nanochemistry, developing novel experimental tools to control and to characterize nanoscale materials. His work on nanocrystals has paved the way for energy-efficient technologies, advanced optical devices, and medical diagnostics, contributing to global safety and economic development. His groundbreaking ideas and discoveries have transformed nanochemistry and enabled new classes of commercially available electronic devices and materials. He's had a long history with the Department of Energy, not really all that long, but long, indeed, with one of our powerhouse national labs, one of our many, not to choose favorites, but he was director emeritus of the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory from 2009 to 2016. At that point, Professor Alivisatos provided exceptional intellectual and programmatic leadership. He influenced national science policy and the Department of Energy's programmatic management, including his role in the U.S. Interagency Working Group's report on nanotechnology research directions, which led to the U.S. National Nanotechnology Initiative in 2003. Currently serving as president of the University of Chicago, Professor Alivisatos continues to make substantial contributions to the scientific community. His leadership positions at prestigious institutions reflect the dedication to advancing scientific research and education. He has fostered an environment that supports innovation and collaboration, ensuring the growth of future scientific leaders. He too is also a very dedicated mentor to so many students and postdocs and scientists. He has mentored hundreds of graduate and postdoctoral fellows, many of whom have gone to make significant contributions to their fields, seeing him as a role model of how to move forward. His mentorship has played a really critical role in shaping the careers of emerging scientists and fostering a very diverse and inclusive scientific community. Beyond the lab, Professor Alivisatos' research has had far-reaching community impacts. His advancements in nanotechnology, such as quantum dot technology, have revolutionized biomedical research and medical diagnostics, reducing test times and enhancing imaging during surgical procedures. His work in energy science, including LED technology and solar cells, contributes to the development of innovative and efficient energy solutions. Professor Paul Alivisatos, would you please come to the stage? Well, congratulations again, Professor Alivisatos. Okay, our final laureate for this year is Mr. John Hopkins Nichols. He is recognized for pioneering inertial confinement, fusion, and high energy density physics. And you haven't heard those words in the last couple of years. You've been in a hole somewhere. And outstanding contributions to national security and visionary leadership at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory at the end of the Cold War. Mr. Nichols is celebrated for his groundbreaking contributions to inertial confinement, fusion, or ICF, and high energy density physics, HEDP. His pioneering work on nuclear explosive design and the vision for achieving fusion ignition using high power lasers have laid the foundation laid the foundation for numerous other innovative technological advances. These advances, these innovations, have resulted in significant scientific achievements, including the recent record-breaking experimental results at the National Ignition Facility, shortened as NIF. I have to give you all these acronyms because this is all we talk about at DOE is acronyms. At NIF, and of advanced U.S. national security, energy innovation, and fundamental sciences. This, too, is a big deal. So during his time at Livermore National Laboratory, he held several prominent leadership roles, including division leader, associate director, and laboratory director. And during his tenure as director of Livermore, Nichols led transformative changes, such as the creation of the Non-Proliferation and Arms Control Directorate, and initiating laboratory exchange visits with Russian counterparts at the end of the Cold War. He also played a critical role in the early stages of constructing the NIF. It is thanks to his vision and expertise that the ICF and the laser programs were pushed forward and led to the creation of the increasingly powerful lasers and the establishment of the NIF. His efforts spurred national and international collaborations and paved the way for new scientific fields and technological advances with widespread benefits. His leadership elevated Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory's reputation as a multidisciplinary national security institution and solidified ICF and HEDP as key components of the U.S. deterrence strategy. Throughout his career, Mr. Nichols has inspired a new generation of scientists and engineers. His dedication to sharing knowledge and fostering talent has been instrumental in building a skilled workforce capable of addressing the kind of really complex scientific issues and technical challenges that we've had for the last several decades and that we continue to have today. He has certainly ensured the kind of growth, and especially in the area of ICF and these fields. His contributions have had far-reaching impacts. His work in ICF and laser technology has not only advanced national security, but also led to many technological spin-offs, such as extreme and ultraviolet lithography for modern integrated circuits, and his achievements demonstrate the profound societal benefits of scientific innovation and visionary leadership. Unfortunately, Mr. Nichols is not able to be here in person today, though he's joining us online. So we can all cheer for him online. So let's give Mr. Nichols a huge round of applause. And in his place, we will have Kim Budell, director of the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, take the award. And she's really great too, I have to tell you. Okay, let's give one more big round of applause for the laureates. And now we get to hear from them. You ready? Okay. All right, Hector, you ready? Hector Abruña. Welcome him to the podium. You can decide whether you want this.
Let's lower expectations here. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for being here. Let me start by wishing you and your families a joyous holiday season and hopefully an auspicious 2025. My name is Hector Abruña, yes, with an ñ. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, which is coming to the conversation here earlier today, one of the most beautiful islands in the world. I am the Emil M. Chamot Professor in the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology at Cornell, where I have been for over 4 decades. in other languages, at least 40 years. Since I was told to keep my remarks for under an hour, I'll try to be brief and keep it under 5 minutes or less here. It really is difficult to describe what I felt after I learned that I had been selected for the Fermi Award. And for start, let me thank President Biden, Secretary Granholm, Deputy Director of Science Programs and proud Cornell graduate, Harriet Kung, and all the people who are involved in this decision. This is truly an exceptionally important award and recognition, and truly humbling experience for me, especially when one looks at the previous recipients of this award. These are people who literally changed the way we talk and think about science. To be considered even remotely within this group is beyond anything I could have ever in my wildest dreams imagined. And as mentioned above, truly humbling. However, while I am deeply, deeply honored, the real credit goes to the people who have worked with me for over 4 decades, graduate students, postdocs, and collaborators worldwide. These people have contributed for over 43 years with ideas, effort, dedication, and sort of mafia-like loyalty. The credit and merit really is theirs, and I accept this award most humbly on their behalf. I would also like to thank Paul, Danielle, and Michael for the Abruña Energy Initiative, for believing in it and for pursuing, it's back again to Puerto Rico, this project in Vieques. We have Oscar Ruiz somewhere in here from Vieques, Puerto Rico, so welcome as well. This was really a surprise to me earlier today. On a more personal note, I also wanted to thank and acknowledge my family, my father Fernando and my mother Minerva, that I hope have a good internet connection in heaven. My 2 brothers, Fernando and Ruben. On the other side of the ledger, my 2 sons, Gustavo and Octavio, my brothers-in-law, Frank and Julio, and of course, and above all, my wife Celia, who literally puts up with me on a daily basis. The support, encouragement, loyalty, and understanding are beyond anything I could have ever expected in my life. Now, for the next 57 minutes, we'll talk a little bit about the energy challenges. So the energy and environmental challenges really require a global effort and commitment where all of us have to contribute, because these things really transcend boundaries. You know, the energy challenge doesn't stop at the northern border or southern border, you know, the Atlantic or the Pacific. It's a global challenge. We as a society need to develop renewable, sustainable, affordable, and long-lasting solutions and technologies to address these monumental challenges. The work we have been involved in my group centers around the development of new materials and architectures for fuel cells and batteries. Fuel cells are devices that convert the energy contained in a fuel like hydrogen directly into electricity. As a result, they can be tremendously efficient, 65–70%. Just for reference point, the internal combustion engine in your car on a good day is 20–25% efficient. So the math is clear and on our side. The problem with fuel cells is that traditionally they have required quote unquote precious, meaning expensive metals, such as platinum, palladium, iridium, etc. In my group, we have been able to develop families of material for fuel cells based on much more abundant and thus much less expensive metals, so-called first-order transition metals, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, and others. In a relatively short period of time, we have been able to achieve performance metrics that match and even surpass those of traditional technologies. In batteries, we are developing systems such as lithium sulfur that can provide higher energy density. If you're thinking of a car, that means longer range, and higher power density, which means acceleration. But, and you know there would be a but, right? We need to develop further these and other technologies, and this will require societal and political will and commitments. That is where all of you, in fact, all of us come in. Addressing complex energy and climate changes will require both new technologies, and political will. Engaging large multidisciplinary teams that span science and public policy. We need an educated and informed citizenry, equipped, willing, and able to engage in the decision-making process. Join us and help us address these monumental challenges. Again, thanks to all.
Thank you, Professor Abrina. We resonate with your comments indeed. And now, Professor Alvasaros, it's your turn.
Good afternoon, and it's such a joy to be here with you and such an honor to receive this award. It's an honor to receive it along with Hector and John, who are just, their life work is quite inspiring and amazing. And as Hector just said, it's deeply humbling to see your name on the list of prior recipients. These are the people who have defined our understanding of the physical world around us and our ability to use it for human benefit. So it's an incredible honor. I'd also like to deeply thank my spouse, Nicole, without whom this journey would not be possible, and our two daughters, Stephanie, who's working to make healthcare more accessible in the world, and Clara, who is a nuclear engineer and physicist working at a modular reactor company. Go nuclear. It is really heartfelt for me to acknowledge the amazing community of doctoral students, undergraduates, postdoctoral scholars, visitors, and many staff who have worked so closely in my research group over decades to bring about the accomplishments that have been honored today. Over decades, we contributed to a deeper understanding of very tiny crystals, nanocrystals. For me, they will always be tiny but mighty. They're extremely beautiful, and it turns out they are consequential for human use, for our nation, and for people around the world. Above all, I personally am an institutionalist. And so for me, it's this award, while directed at me personally, is really an award to the extraordinary institutions that I have benefited from. And especially I want to include among those the communities of scholars that I have worked with, as well as the DOE Office of Science. More on that later. So when I was 20 years old and a student at the University of Chicago, this situation was unimaginable. But I was one day studying there, and it's important to remember things like this. I had just done a laboratory, and I was sitting in the library trying to make sense of it. And the lab was, there was a wire that somehow we could track its growth, and we could infer that the way it growed was atoms would impinge on any site along the length of it, and then travel to the end, and it would become longer. And I'm sitting there thinking, how could people figure this out, that these atoms could move in this way? And at that time, I fell in love, if you like, with the dance of the atoms, with the ability to make tiny things and to direct where everything went and to observe it and to try to understand it. And that is something which has inspired me for a long time. And if you look at the work we've done throughout my entire career, it's only in the last few years that we could finally actually make movies of that happening as it occurs in real time. So it's quite a beautiful journey. In myself, the younger me in that library, I see something much larger than that moment of inspiration. It's an entire university, the University of Chicago, which is a community of scholars who love knowledge so much that they impress its inestimable value on young people. And they honor us that way, and we honor them by carrying through this idea of carefully over time, layer by layer, we reveal and understand everything that's going on underneath. That's the ethos, and it's beautiful. So it's an honor today Much of my life, as has been referenced, is also entangled with another great institution, the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. It's a remarkable place, and I had the honor to serve as its director. But well before that, the Berkeley Lab created a culture that fostered me. It's a place where knowledge is revered and created in a very different way from the University of Chicago. In fact, it's almost the inverse. At Chicago, they go layer by layer. At Berkeley, people at the Berkeley Lab are constantly looking for that place where they could turn knowledge upside down, where our understanding is incomplete, and with a clever set of ideas, we can suddenly see things so much more clearly. It's an amazing place, and when I began a research group there, the study of the tiny crystals I was involved in was more or less confined to about 4 scientists in the world. Just a few years later, an entirely new period emerged, one that will be forever linked with the culture of Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. None of the work being celebrated today would have been possible as well without the long-term support of the Office of Science from the US Department of Energy. The Office of Science is a place I admire so much and I am so grateful to. What I experienced from Office of Science was steadfast support in the period of foundational science. It cultivated and enabled me. It fostered team science at the national labs. And they made big bets and they stuck with them. That's the real deal. Thank you.
And Professor Alivisatos, we resonate with that one too. And everything that you've said, you all are an inspiration. Now, for John, to honor John Nichols, we'll have Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory Director come up, Kim Budell, to give a presentation on John. Thank you, Kim, for being here.
Kim, we don't need the box. John's very sorry he couldn't be here today. He was unable to travel, and I'm very honored that he asked me to come. He's prepared some remarks for me to share with you about this award and what it means to him. As Dr. Richmond noted, we've spent a lot of time in the last few years talking about the achievement of ignition, and John is the sort of inception point for that journey. And I think this award recognizes what it meant shortly after the invention of the laser to have the intellectual leap that you might be able to use this new tool to do something completely unprecedented that had never been done before. And I think this award really exemplifies that spirit. So here are the remarks that John has prepared for you. I'd like to thank the Biden administration and the DOE Office of Science for honoring me today. I'm proud to share this award with Hector Abruña and Paul Alivisatos. Joining these two in the illustrious list of past recipients is truly remarkable. They include my heroes, mentors, and colleagues like Edward Teller, Harold Brown, and John Foster. I'd also like to thank my colleagues at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, where I spent my entire career. Scientific accomplishments are never an individual achievement. We build on the work of our predecessors, expand our knowledge through collaboration and competition, and pass forward new problems and ideas to the next generation of scientists. I was fortunate to begin my career just before the invention of the laser. In 1960, this cutting-edge technology opened exciting new avenues of research in physics. Pretty soon, Lawrence Livermore started a laser program. From the start, I believed we could use a laser to achieve fusion ignition. Lawrence Livermore emerged as a leader in both laser research and supercomputing, which proved fortuitous. Without supercomputing, we could not have done the calculations necessary to advance this work. As happens in most careers, I eventually moved into leadership, becoming lab director in 1988. It was a remarkable time with the end of the Cold War and underground nuclear weapons testing. This provided the impetus for building the laser that could achieve fusion, the National Ignition Facility, or NIF. NIF became one of the main ingredients in the Science-Based Stockpile Stewardship Program, which replaced underground testing with laboratory experiments and supercomputing. Launching this is one of the highlights of my career. We had high hopes when NIF began experiments, but the results did not match our expectations. We had much more to learn to understand these strange results. We had to challenge our assumptions and really think outside the box, but we solved the problems. But NIF still had plenty of doubters. Repeatedly, different review teams told us it would never work, that the facility would never achieve ignition. I joined a red team to refute this, and in the end, we proved them wrong. In 2018, I received the John S. Foster Jr. Medal. I received many awards over the course of my career, but this one stands out because it recognized my work of the last 10 years. I'm proud of my contributions to understanding the complex physics of NIF experiments. Just over 2 years ago, we did what many thought was impossible. We achieved ignition at NIF. And in the last 2 years, we've repeated this result over and over. Now, scientists are building on this new foundation to advance the experiments we can do for stockpile stewardship. While the media and general public tend to overlook this is the reason that NIF exists. But the beautiful thing about NIF is that as we explore new regimes of high energy density physics, that understanding applies to stockpile stewardship and the pursuit of fusion energy. As I reflect on my career, I move beyond words. I always believed we'd achieve fusion ignition in my lifetime, but no one foresaw how hard it would be. But we did it, and now the US is the undisputed leader in fusion energy research. We're on a path to energy independence. I believe fusion energy will play an even more dominant role in our lives in the years to come. For the aspiring scientists out there, I'll close with some advice. Seek out mentors and aspire to become one. Don't be afraid of challenges. Science is driven by audacity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Goodell. You know, I think at this moment, it's time for us to just sit and reflect on what we are here today to do. And that is to celebrate the accomplishments of 3 individuals that are truly making a difference in the world with their science. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So congratulations again to Hector Brunha, Paula Levisatos, and John Nichols. You are indeed worthy of the Enrico Fermi 2024 awards. So, but before we take off and go to the reception, I want to give a big shout out to those that helped arrange that we're all here. So can we just give a round of applause to the people that are all behind this? Especially those sitting up there recording this and everybody else that's keeping track of us. Big thanks. Big thanks to the Office of Science, who have shepherded this award for so long and supported the scientists that have made these amazing accomplishments over the years. So we acknowledge your help too. So now I hope you will join us. And let me first, since I'm in the thank you mode, let me thank all of you for coming, for being here, for those of you that are online also. It means a lot to the Department of Energy that you care enough to be here, and I'm sure the recipients feel good about that too. So I hope you all feel inspired by what we've been through today and think about how you too can contribute in some way to making this world better, as our laureates have. So we also want to encourage you to send in some nominations for the 2025, which will be open very soon. Please look out for that announcement. As now, for those that are here at the here in person, we invite you to join us at the reception in the cafeteria. Please exit through the doors at the back. There will be people directing you how to get there, because it's taken me 3 years to figure out how to get there. So I will be following the rest of you. And I will ask the laureates and their families, DOE leadership, and invited guests to remain in the auditorium for just a few group pictures. So anyway, thank you all. Thank you all. And thank the Lord.